What's up, foodies? Even the best fries in the world don't stay crispy for long. By the 12-minute mark, even a perfectly made restaurant fry is going to be soft. So if that's true for the best fries in the world, why do your home fries go soggy in about 90 seconds? While a restaurant fry survives the walk from the kitchen to your table and still has crunch left by the time you eat it. And the answer is, it's not a secret ingredient or some special potato no one's told you about. It's a process. Before I went to culinary school, one of my first jobs was working at New York Fries. If you don't know what that is, it's a very popular Canadian fry restaurant, and no, it has nothing to do with New York. And this is actually where I first learned about fries. And when I went to culinary school, this is where I learned the why behind it. So there are 3 stages of making a really crispy fry. And each one is solving a different problem that you cannot do by just frying the fries once. I'm going to show you exactly what's happening inside that potato at each stage, and why skipping any one of these is the reason your fries don't end up staying crispy. So let's get into it. Now before we touch a potato, I want you to understand the actual problem here. Because once you get this, the whole 3-stage process makes sense instead of just feeling like extra steps. So deep frying has 2 jobs that need completely different heats to get the job done. You need a gentle heat held for a while to cook the inside of the potato all the way through. And then you need a very intense heat to build a crust on the outside. The problem is, you can't do both of them at the same time. If your oil is gentle enough to cook the inside without burning the outside never gets hot enough to get crispy. Now if your oil is hot enough to crisp the outside fast, the inside stays raw by the time the outside is already burnt. And that's the problem, and that's why doing a 1-stage deep fry won't work. But doing 3 stages can, so let's start with the potato itself. Now I'm starting with the almighty russet, sometimes also called the Idaho potato. This is the golden standard in North America for making French fries, and it's the one you want to use. I got about 4 or 5 russets here, so let's cut them into fries. And then go ahead and slice a thin piece off one side of the potato so you have a flat bottom to work with. That way the potato doesn't roll around on you. I'm going to cut these russets into 3/4 of an inch thick, but you can cut these into as thick or as little as you want. But this is the classic steak fry width. So what makes the russet the golden standard for making fries is that it's high in starch and low in moisture, compared to something like a Yukon Gold. That's what gives them their crispy shell and that soft, fluffy center everyone loves. And that matters because moisture is actually the enemy of every single stage in this process. Once all your potatoes are cut into fries, go ahead and rinse off the surface starch. I like to place them into a bowl and run them underwater until the water runs clear and no more starch is coming out from the potatoes. And here's why you want to rinse them. A raw potato is coated with loose starch from cutting it. So what this is doing is washing all that surface starch off your fries. If you skip this step, they'll stick together and they'll brown too quickly. Rinsing the surface starch off means the browning happens evenly, because you're only dealing with the starch that's actually inside the potato. Then once they're rinsed, get them spread out onto a towel and pat them dry on both sides. And this isn't just about spitting oil when you drop them into the oil, although it's that too. Any water sitting on the surface has to boil off before the oil can do anything else. And that wastes time and energy at exactly the stage where you want the oil to focus on cooking the potato and not evaporating the water you could have removed with a towel. So let's get these potatoes in the oil for stage 1. Heat your oil in a large pot or a home deep fryer to around 320 to 330 degrees Fahrenheit. Note that a home fryer temperature swings more than a big commercial one holding 18 liters of oil. So I'm working within about 10 degrees of these numbers at every single stage. Your temperature is going to fluctuate, and as long as you're within 10 degrees, you're going to be fine. So let's drop these fries into some oil and don't dump them in all at once. So here's what's actually happening inside the potato right now as it cooks. A raw potato is basically packed full of tiny starch granules. Think of them like really small grains. They're way too small to see, and right now they're in a raw state and they're tight and hard. Once that potato hits the hot oil, the moisture that's already inside the potato starts heating up. And somewhere around 140 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit, those little starch granules start soaking up that moisture and swelling up. Kind of like how rice swells up when you cook it, or dry sponge puffs up the second you touch it in water. And once that happens, you can't undo it. The potato has permanently gone from being raw and dense to soft and almost custard-like on the inside. Now the crust is not forming at this stage. Our goal here in this stage is to make sure the potato gets cooked. And this is exactly why you don't dump a huge pile of fries into the oil at once. Potatoes actually hold heat way more stubbornly than oil does. So when you drop a big batch of cold fries, they pull the temperature of the oil down really hard. And that takes a while to climb back up. And while the oil temperature is down, your fries are basically just sitting in lukewarm oil instead of hot oil. And that swelling process of the potato we just talked about doesn't happen properly. You end up with fries that are gummy and undercooked in the middle instead of soft and cooked all the way through. So don't overload your fryer oil. As a rough guide, for every 1 liter of oil you're using, stick to around 200 to 250 grams of potato at a time. Roughly about half a pound. And if you got more than that, just fry in batches. Now fry them until they're just pale and soft, but not browned. You should be able to squeeze one gently between your fingers with little resistance. That's the texture you're looking for. So the reason your fries are not brown at this stage, even though they're sitting in hot oil for a few minutes, the surface temperature of the fry actually plateaus around 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Because that's the boiling point of water, and the moisture coming out of the potato as steam holds it right there. The surface of the potato can't get hot enough to brown until the moisture stops escaping so fast. So at this stage, you really can't brown your fries, even if you wanted to. Now I place my potatoes onto a wire rack to rest, and then I place them in front of an open window so they can cool fully with airflow around them. Now this rest is really important. The surface is drying out, and the starches in the potato are firming up. Now without this rest, that layer stays soft, and you go straight into stage 2 with nothing to build a crust on. Now I'll let these rest for 20 to 30 minutes if I'm cooking them right away, but restaurants will sometimes hold these fries at this stage for hours. Now that our fries have cooled down and rested, it's time to start stage 2. You want to crank your oil up to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then drop the fries straight back into the oil for the second fry. We're going to cook our fries for 2 to 3 minutes until they're lightly golden in color, small ripples and blisters appearing on the surface. This is where the crust will start to form. The fries should start feeling firm. At this stage, our temperature of oil is high enough to start the Maillard reaction. That's the reaction between amino acids and sugars on the surface of the potato that create browning and hundreds of new flavor compounds. Think of it like this. It's the same thing when you toast a marshmallow or sear a steak. That golden brown color and flavor only kicks in once the surface gets hot enough. For the Maillard reaction to happen, the surface needs to hit somewhere around 285 to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. That's why in stage 1 we never get browning because the surface of the fry never gets hot enough. Now pull your fries out and let them rest 5 minutes. It's shorter this time. We're just letting that new crust set before we start stage 3. Some people will chill them in the fridge here for a few minutes if they want to push that crispness even further. I keep feeling like I'm saying Christmas. Crispness. Christmas. And this is your natural break point if you're prepping these ahead. Cool them fully here and then bag and fridge them if you're cooking them the night. Or freeze them when you want to have fries on hand whenever a craving hits. When you're ready, take your fries straight from the freezer and put them in the oil for stage 3. No need to thaw, the longer part is already done, and all that's left is cooking for 60 to 90 seconds until they're crispy and golden brown. Now we rested our fries for 5 minutes, let's start our final stage. Now let's set our oil to 370 to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Now place your fries back into the oil and cook for about 60 to 90 seconds, or until they're deep golden brown and blistered and crispy. At this point, almost all the surface moisture is gone, and this is exactly why we can finally get these hard and crunchy. Now that they're done, give them a quick shake and dump them into a bowl and season them right away. Now you want to salt these as soon as they come out. Salt sticks to hot fries way better than fries that have already been cooled. So back to the question from the start, why does restaurant fries survive longer than yours? It's steam every time. The moment the fries come out of the oil, the moisture inside the potato keeps moving outward towards that crust. If you stack them in a pile or close them in a container, that moisture has nowhere to go, so it just lands right back on the crust you work so hard to build. So that's why when you get fries that are sealed in a takeout container, go soft so much faster than fries that are spread out on a plate. Restaurant quality fries peak crispness for about 5 minutes and they start declining by the 12-minute mark. Same as anyone else's. So all it is restaurants use a 3-stage process that gets you a structurally stronger crust that holds up a bit longer once it's out. But keep in mind, nothing fried stays crispy forever. Time and moisture is always your enemy. So spread them out, don't cover them up, and eat them while they're still hot. Try these fries and let me know in the comments how they turned out. If you want more videos like this, real techniques, actually why behind it, hit subscribe and new videos come out every week. And if you haven't checked out my Greek cookbook yet, the link's in the description below. And if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe down below. Until next time, FOOD-DEE out.